Hi, and welcome to episode 3 of Heartbeat of Bartlett podcast. If you haven't watched the first 2 series, we encourage you to go and find them. You can find them on our social media. You can find them on Apple, anywhere that you find podcasts, YouTube. So go check us out. It's Heartbeat of Bartlett. And we created this, the Bartlett Chamber created this so that we can kind of showcase small businesses in the community, as well as various things going on in the community. So we're super excited today. First of all, I want to thank my co-host Maria and First South Financial for sponsoring and generously underwriting this podcast. So Maria, thank you so much. And if you'll just introduce yourself and
I will introduce myself, but first of all, I want to introduce you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Terry McLendon. What is your title? You're Director of Membership Development with the Bartlett Area Chamber of Commerce.
Community Development.
And she's my excellent co-host for this podcast, and thank you for letting me be your co-host.
Thank you.
And I am Maria McLendon, Senior Vice President of Marketing for First South Financial. And First South Financial is delighted to be a part of this podcast series. We're delighted to be members of the Bartlett Area Chamber of Commerce. We have been for so many years. We really are very supportive of the excellent work that this organization does in terms of economic development for the Bartlett and Northeast Shelby County community. So it's absolutely our pleasure and our privilege to be here as a part of this podcast.
We love having you.
Thank you. And we have got a excellent show for you as we are talking about economic development. Our guests today are Dr. Joanne Massey, who is Vice President of Operations for EDGE, which stands for the Economic Development Growth Engine for Memphis and Shelby County. And we've got Natasha Tabor from Regional 1. And they're going to both talk to us about the resources that are provided by EDGE for small businesses in our community. So Joanne and Natasha, thank you so much for being here. And if you could both introduce yourself, Joanne.
Sure. Thank you so much, Terry and Maria, for having us here.
We're so excited.
We are very excited too. And EDGE has continued to raise its profile. We do more than just pilots. So as you said, I'm Dr. Joanne Massey, Vice President of Operations with EDGE. I'm almost going into my first year working with EDGE. And I've really built my career around economic, workforce, and community development. As the Office of Business Diversity and Compliance Director prior to joining EDGE, and then also Senior Vice President for Operation HOPE's 1 Million Black Business Initiative, which was a national global initiative raising awareness of the utilization of Black businesses. I've also had the opportunity to work with our previous governor, Haslam, to establish the Memphis regional office, where we had some really great wins like the Nike factory out there in Fraser and other projects. But my biggest and most important impact, I think, is around small business. So I'm really excited to be here with you.
It's amazing when you can make an impact on small business, because while the business might be small, the impact is pretty significant.
That's right.
Thank you for being here. Natasha, can you please introduce yourself?
I am Natasha Tabor. I am the Director of Business Development and Market Relations at Regional 1 Health, and I am one of the original board members of EDGE. Since I've been a board member since 2011. Wow. And during that time, I had my own business. The name of my business was called Success Unlimited, where I helped small businesses. I was a business and executive coach where I focused on the growth of small businesses in our community. And I was appointed by Mayor Mark Luttrell at that time to become a member of EDGE.
Awesome. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, thank you both for being here. And Joanne, can you describe EDGE and the work that you're doing? Maybe share some of what's going on for our small businesses audience, and just anything that you guys can bring to them.
Sure. Well, as Natasha said, EDGE was created in 2011, and we thank her and our many great board members for their service as they have continued to make an impact on Memphis and Shelby County. But EDGE is the economic development arm for the Memphis and Shelby County mayors in their administration, as well as our elected officials. So although we work with the private sector, like the chambers, of course, and others, we represent the public sector, which is the citizenship of the entire Shelby County, and focusing on helping to create quality jobs and infrastructure investment. We do that by our very vast toolkit. So you heard me mention pilots, payment in lieu of taxes. You're going to hear acronyms with government all the time.
That's okay. You just have to explain them.
Right. Just have to explain them. But we do more than pilots. We have various tools in our toolkit that help to support businesses. And one of the tools that I'm really proud of, and Natasha's going to always be modest because she was the one who came up with the idea and led our finance committee to create the ICE loan program. So it's the Inner City Economic Development Forgivable Loan Program. And this forgivable loan can help businesses get up to $25,000 for facade infrastructure improvements for their brick and mortar location.
Wow. I mean, that's a really, really big deal because, I mean, when you're talking about small businesses and small business owners, I think one of the first things that someone thinks of when they're looking to start a new business is what resources are available to me. And I think the fact that they have a resource like Edge where they can start, it gives them so many things, like you said, tools in their toolkit to really start that entrepreneurial process.
Absolutely. And you know, when we created the ICE loan program, it was with small businesses in mind. Whether they're a startup or they've been in existence, they can qualify for this tool. And the only criteria is obviously, like I said, they have to have a brick and mortar location or choosing a brick and mortar location located in the new market tax credit areas. And so when you look at Shelby County, that's based on the growth and income of a community. And a lot of our communities are really under invested. And so that's what that's based on. It's a national designation. They have to have a ownership or a 3-year lease of the building that they're looking to invest in. And then, you know, there are certain sectors we don't support. We don't support liquor stores and pawn shops and things like that. But really, when you look at the small businesses that are utilizing our forgivable loan program, there's restaurants and beauty salons and, you know, so many other types of businesses.
Retail locations.
Exactly. That are hiring in the neighborhoods and in the community. So we found it to be really important. We don't just help corporations. And also another fact, 80% of the jobs created in Tennessee are created by small businesses.
Right. That's fantastic. I mean, and then this whole concept of forgivable loan, like that's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
So, Natasha, I want to jump to chatting with you just a little bit. Now, you and I go way back, back in the olden days when I used to.
I don't know about olden.
Well, not at all. Yeah, well, not the olden days, but back in the day, when I used to work for the Bartlett Area Chamber of Commerce, and you were on the board of the Bartlett Area Chamber of Commerce, and even just coming full circle, back when you served on the board, my current boss, Dr. Craig Israel, was chairman of the board for the Bartlett Area Chamber, and is of course.
And once he hits his term ended, he's like, "Oh, who would be a better chairman than me, or try to be?" And then he, of course, it was his idea for me to be the chairman of the Bartlett Chamber the year after that. So yes.
Yeah, and you've been a longtime member of First South Financial as well.
Yes.
So welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. And
it feels like I'm home because you're, I would say, an old friend from the olden days. And
we're old friends without being old. Exactly right. Yeah.
And so I'm very familiar with all the work that the Bartlett Chamber has done over the years because I was a part of it. And then I know that the work that I've done with Edge, or just being appointed to Edge, it was because of what I was doing at the Bartlett Chamber. It had a lot to do with it.
So can you talk a little bit about your experience starting a small business and the resources that were available to you when you were starting, and the advantages that someone who is looking to start or expand their small business today has with the Edge programs that are available?
Well, at that time, it was self-funded. I was gathering information on my own. So you struggle a little bit more in order to be successful. Whereas I feel like now with EDGE being in place, not only is there financial help there if you qualify, but even if you go there and I feel like the staff is working with someone and you're not in one of those new market tax credit areas, but they know how to direct you to the resources that are available. They are there with the knowledge that the team there is so knowledgeable that can direct you, so you don't have to struggle so much.
The team there is so knowledgeable, but they're so kind.
That too. I mean, you need kindness because when you don't know what you're doing, you need some kindness. Sometimes you need some tough love, and I think that's the difference.
Yeah,
that it's available, but they will guide you. To where you need to go.
That is so helpful with a small business because there is so much that's unknown.
Correct.
And having that person guide you that is golden.
Yeah.
Well, that's really been a priority for our team as we've continued to build. In my former life as the director of the Office of Business Diversity and Compliance, I was able to gather a lot of information about technical assistance and the needs of small businesses. And so we navigate, whether it's through our chamber, through the city's office, the county's office, our other chambers like, Collierville, Bartlett, and others. We really do handhold. And I tell my team it's white glove treatment, almost like a Chick-fil-A, where you don't just pass off, but you follow the client. And to Natasha's point, even if they don't qualify for our incentive, we're helping them to identify other resources for them. And that's really important.
That is,
and one thing I want to throw out there is, I would say under Joanne's leadership, the EDGE has definitely been more visible. So it makes it easier for that small business to find those resources. So I want to say kudos to you.
Thank you, Natasha.
Thank you for making EDGE visible here during the Heartbeat of Bartlett podcast. We appreciate it.
We're hoping a lot more people will understand and know what that is and give you guys a call.
Thank you. And I do want to add, this is kind of a shameless plug. We've been able to, from 2022 to 23, double the number of ICE loans that we have made. And so I'm really proud of that. And you're getting a preview before our board meeting, which this way or after, but we're really proud of that. We've doubled that, as well as doubled the number of pilots. And so with the restructuring of our office and hiring on personnel to focus on small business, focus on corporations, and then a community engagement specialist I know, Maria, you all have met Trey Moore. He's out in the community knocking on doors and letting businesses know.
That is amazing.
Face is really critical. And so that's something brand new that you've started.
Yes. Since 2023, when I came aboard, that was one of the things that, again, from my previous life, I knew business owners,
they don't know what they don't know.
They don't know.
And they're too busy running the business. They're not out looking for information. Sometimes you just have to hand it to them.
They can't shut their doors and come down to downtown. So we bring the resources to them.
Truly amazing. That is just phenomenal customer service. So kind of want to go back to the point that you made earlier, and correct me if I'm wrong on the stat, but you said that 80% of revenue in a community is generated from small businesses.
80% of the jobs created in Tennessee are from small businesses.
Wow. So when you make an impact on a single small business owner, you are making a significant impact on the community that small business serves. And I think that it's really important to mention the power of that ripple effect.
That's right.
That pebble that's dropped in the water, and then the ripples have such strong reach.
That's right. And we talk about, the economic development wheel as an economic development practitioner, where you have people where we're creating good jobs. And so a parent, an individual is able to have a good job. Then they're able to invest in their community through their homes and purchases and things like that. And then their children. Their children are going to school well-resourced. And so that child is getting a good education, who then becomes a knowledge worker who's investing back in the community. And everything that we're all thinking about all the time, crime. If they have hope, if they have an opportunity, and our new mayor, Paul Young, who's an economic development practitioner himself, talks about that. Where there's opportunity and hope, there's less likelihood of them turning to crime. So we feel like we're a part of that.
So a long time ago, a boss of mine once said talked about creating a virtuous circle. And I think that's what economic development investment is it helps to create that virtuous circle. It's that first step in creating positivity that lasts well throughout the community.
Yeah. And if I could add, Maria, you guys are so important to that in what we do. We have a mantra that's called promoting progress through partnerships. We don't do it alone, and everyone is a part of that. And so we're really happy to be here to be able to share. You've given us this platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure that the conversation around forgivable loans piqued some interest out there. Can you talk a little bit more about how they would go about finding out more information about whether or not they qualify for that kind of loan?
Yes. The first place to go is the EDGE website. It's www.edgemem.com. On that website, under business assistance, you can go there. You can pull down the application 24/7. The criteria is also there. And then you can call our office at 901-341-2100 and speak to any economic development specialist who can help guide you through that. So you're not alone, but you can always pull the application down 24/7.
That's amazing.
Can you guys maybe give us a couple of examples of some ICE programs or specific projects and how maybe that would make a positive impact for a business?
Sure. Do you have? I have some recent examples, but we've done.
You want some examples of businesses that have taken advantage of the ICE loan?
That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
Well, I would say if you familiar with Broad Avenue, there are several retail shops because I know we had. I want to say at one time about almost 10 businesses over there. I can't name them specifically. If you put them in front of me, I could point to them. But I know that we funded the exterior when that was happening during that development time. I can think of several restaurants in Whitehaven.
Yeah, that whole Whitehaven strip, Elvis Presley, so mugging, coffee, exactly. Right there near Elvis Presley Enterprise. And like Natasha said, we're really proud of what's happened at Broad Avenue. We're now reaching out into the Fraser community. One exact example of a company, it's called Jamrock. It's a restaurant.
The Jamaican restaurant?
Yes, the Jamaican restaurant. And so this young man, he and his father had the, Pearls?
No, it was on Madison.
Yes.
Evelyn and Olive.
Evelyn and Olive, which has been a fantastic, successful restaurant. Venturing out on his own to start Jamrock, he could have located in Texas, Louisiana, Atlanta, anywhere else. But he chose Memphis, and we're so happy for that and able to help and provide this resource to him. Another project, though, that's not necessarily an ICE loan project is the Northside High School revitalization. That's another EDGE project where we were able to help Archie Willis, Rashawn Austin, and those folks invest in a blighted building for like the last 18 years or so, I think.
That's amazing.
And so that North Memphis, North Side area, Archie says this is the largest investment in that community in over 20 years.
Wow. That's amazing.
So we're really, you talk about that virtuous circle. I totally see where this is at.
It resonates so strongly with the work that we do at First South Financial because one of the things that we pride ourselves in for our organization is serving the underserved, being where people don't have access to traditional banking needs and providing them with resources that they otherwise would not have access to. And so I just see so many synergies in terms of the work that EDGE is doing to revitalize communities and the support that we can provide through our organization to support those businesses as well with their business banking relationships or their commercial lending needs or what have you. Absolutely. So that we can work in tandem to help grow these businesses and really support the community.
Yeah. And I love that example of the high school because when you're thinking of how does this impact a community, I mean, can you kind of expand on, because I can tell how that would have impacted them, but is there anything around that you think you can tell us kind of how that made a huge impact?
Well, already we're seeing interest in development around this development, right?
It's that whole concept of virtuous circle, right? Like good breeds more good.
Exactly. So they're going to have a residential component, a retail component, a community component where the community will be able to congregate inside of the building and get service.
Oh, that's amazing.
So we're already seeing it, and I have to add, we service as the economic development arm for Memphis, the city of Memphis. But we also interact with and support our suburban municipalities like the Bartlett, the Collierville, and work with them on their incentive packages. And just kind of as a technical fact, the Shelby County mayor has to sign off on any incentives offered in the other municipalities other than Memphis. And so that goes through EDGE, and we review that and work with our partners. So I think that's very key. And you should know that whether it's Collierville, Millington, there are new market tax credit locations within those communities. So if you don't know if you qualify, still call us. Because we can tell you if you qualify or not. And to Natasha's point earlier, even if you don't qualify for this small business incentive, there's others.
I think that's one of the key components, right? Is that it's a resource, and even if this route doesn't work out, like it is a starting point so that you know the next place to go. Like that's right. I think that's really amazing.
That's right.
I love the hand holding that you do. I mean, you just don't get that in many places. You make a phone call and you never hear back, or you do an email and you never hear back. And so actually having a place that you can come in and have people talk to you and encourage you. It sounds super exciting with all that you guys are doing.
And I mean, just going back to the kindness component, I think that we're really fortunate with our relationships that are sprouted through the Northeast Shelby County community and the relationship established through the Bartlett Area Chamber of Commerce. Like the amount of support and connectivity that you get from the people that you interact with, like this entire group of people is vested in the success of others. And I think that's so impactful. Like I certainly felt it in every Bartlett Chamber interaction that all of these people wanted me to succeed, which fueled me in wanting them to succeed. I mean, like, did you have that experience as well, Natasha?
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah. Well, and let me add, ladies, Shelby County has been looked at as a model for that kind of collaboration.
Yeah.
And in fact, the mayor of Nashville has invited EDGE up, and I'll be speaking on a panel to just talk about and give best practices around that kind of collaboration. So Shelby County is really, truly a star in Tennessee, no matter what anyone tells you.
High five on that.
Yes.
That's awesome. This has been a fabulous conversation. I can't believe how quickly it has gone. Actually, like it's amazing how much fun you have, how quickly time passes when you're having fun. So, as we wrap up, are there any final tidbits of advice, or just any last thoughts that you would want to leave our audience with? And Natasha, I'll start with you. Is there anything that you would want to tell our audience before we part company today?
I would say that if you are starting a business or in business, to know that you do have the support in this community. EDGE is just one example of that, and take advantage of it. You're not alone. You have the resources and people ready to help you so that you can succeed in Shelby County and throughout.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I'll piggyback on that. We want you to have hope. Yeah. There is hope. I can promise you that. And we have our amazing board members and our team and our mayors who are all invested in helping businesses.
And our banks like First South.
And our banks like First South.
Yes, thank you.
And our chambers. And we could go on and on with the list. But the facts is that there is hope. There is opportunity. And all you have to do is just reach out. So we just want our businesses to be proactive. Don't be afraid. And we have had that. A lot of businesses are like, they won't help me.
Oh, let me throw in
small.
something. Because
please.
A lot of I just know from being
from
a coach, and then just from being leading the committee for the ICE loan, a lot of small business owners think, oh, do I need a full business plan? I don't have a business plan. You do not. You can write your things out on a napkin. We will help you gather the information that you need. Right. So don't be intimidated about the process, because we're not asking for you to create a binder of a full business plan before you come in and apply.
That's not what they say in my small business class. What they say in the first step. So that is really good to know.
If you have it, great. But help you.
I love it.
That's
not
so
gonna
awesome
don't let that
because
deter
I do
you.
think that there's a lot of things that intimidate people when they're, they have this vision and this idea, but then there's so many hurdles.
Yeah.
And it feels,
When so many businesses already operating and they have their financials, I mean, that's going to be important.
Yeah.
But they don't have this formal document that is really intimidating for a lot of
I think that's
business
an
owners.
important point that we need to reiterate just before we wrap up is that this is not for new business startups alone. This is for existing businesses.
Yes.
So existing businesses that want to do like an exterior or facade renovation, there are resources available and you can reach out.
Yeah. And I have to add this because Natasha knows I'm also an education advocate and youth advocate. You're never too young. If you're 18 years old, that's all you have to be. You could be 18 years old. If you have a business idea and it's
I'm starting to think about some of the businesses.
I know, right? I know. And it's so wonderful. And you know, our community, and I know we're wrapping up, but our community has a history of entrepreneurial spirit. And there's a little company called FedEx, and he had a paper in college. And here he is, you know, $1 billion business. So you can do it too. And we're here to support. Now, $25,000 may not get you to $1 billion business, but it's a start.
It's a start.
It is a stepping stone for sure. Yeah.
Well, Joanne and Natasha, thank you so much for joining us.
I know.
It's been so fun.
Truly such a fun conversation. So as we wrap up, can you tell us one more time where our listeners and our audience can find Edge?
Sure. It's www.edgemem.com, or they can call our office at 901-341-2100.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joanne and Natasha, for being here. And thank you to all of our listeners and our audience. We're so happy that you tune in to the Heartbeat of Bartlett. And the Heartbeat of Bartlett would not be here if it were not for the awesome people at V2 Media. So woohoo, V2 Media. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Maria, it was absolutely a pleasure.
Always.
Always.
Yeah, looking forward to the next one. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe and ring the bell, ring-a-ding-ding. Tune into our next episode, and you can find us anywhere you find your podcast. That's Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Anywhere that podcasts are distributed, you can find the Heartbeat of Bartlett. We'll see you the next time.
See you later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.